Wondering if you didn't see the graphic on social media. I didn't even have a title. Jesse just made up a title. So we're going to talk about singing tonight, but we're going to talk about more of the practical side of things. And so this is really loud. Really, really, really loud. It's really loud. We're on the borderline feedback here. All right. It sounds like it's slowly. There we go. Okay, now I can actually talk because I was getting that really low, quiet voice there for a minute. Okay, that's a lot better, more comfortable for me. So, one of the things, and you all don't realize it, or maybe you do, you're kind of an experiment for me tonight. So, one of the things that whenever I step down from preaching full time, and then try to figure out what I was going to do when I grew up, because that's what it felt like there for a couple of years, and realized I really enjoyed teaching and really enjoyed teaching music, is trying to figure out how to make that fit into the context of, or be helpful to, the church. Because, and I asked this at Greenback this morning whenever I was filling in over there, whenever I bring up, and I think I've asked it here before too, passages like Ephesians 5 and verse 19 or Colossians 3 and verse 16, you know, those are the ones, even if you don't know the references, what they are, you probably have heard those are the ones that are like admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly with all wisdom, teaching, and all those, I kind of put them together there, but that's what we're talking about. When those verses come up, 9 times out of 10, or even when I just mention them now, where does your mind go about what subject, what particular topic might be preached or taught on? Okay, I'm glad I'm not crazy, because that's what I hear and think. But the reality of it is that those verses, until the last few hundred years, would never have been understood that way, because they are admonitions to sing. They're commands to sing, and that's what they're dealing with, and what to sing, and that we're singing to the Lord with thanksgiving, that we're singing to each other whenever we do that. And they're the direct command verses, in addition to half dozen others where we see examples. For example, we see Jesus before he goes to the garden. What did he and his disciples do? They sing a hymn, don't they? Whenever Paul and Silas were in prison in Acts chapter 16, what were they doing? And the Philippian jailer, they were singing hymns around midnight whenever that earthquake happened. And so we have all these other instances. We've got 1 Corinthians 14 that deals with it from a couple of different angles, of singing with the Spirit, but also singing with understanding, or singing with our mind, and also the having it done decently and in order, and how that's supposed to be carried out in the church. That they were supposed to have, if anyone has a hymn, is what he says, then let him bring it, and then they go through the order of what to do. Don't just have this chaotic scene of everybody doing something all at the same time. So what I want to say with all of that, I guess, is that there's a lot more to this discussion that we sometimes don't talk about beyond just instrumental music. So for tonight, let's just set instrumental music, that part of the discussion, aside on the shelf, because that's not even really what I want to deal with tonight. And I taught about this back in December, and I guess part of what I wanted to do is see if eventually this could be something that could develop into a little more detailed study, either here or elsewhere, and benefit the church in various ways. But what we've got to realize is that music has always, always, always been important to God's people. Always. Singing has always been important. Songs have always been important. You go back to Exodus chapter 15. And as soon as the children of Israel crossed through the Red Sea on dry land and Pharaoh's army is destroyed, what do? What do we have recorded there in Exodus 15? It's a song written by Moses. There's another one later on that sometimes gets hidden. That's a song that deals with all of the, and I'm trying to remember if I wrote down that scripture reference. I think I wrote it down on a sheet of paper separate from the notes that I typed up for some reason. I don't know why I did that. You know, you ought to feel good about me having 2 pages of notes for this, because the more notes I have, usually the less I talk. Anyway, I'll have to go back and look up exactly where it is, because I can't remember off the top of my head for some reason. It's been a long day. There's another song that he is told specifically by God to record, I believe at the end of Deuteronomy, that details